Hey guys, welcome back to Aligned Anyway. I am your co host, Tiffany.
And I am Josh, your other co-host. Welcome.
Well, we are glad to be back. So, want to start off with I know last episode we said we would be recording together from a cabin in the mountains. I want to say we did do that,
Wasn't wrong.
right? Josh and Dylan were here last weekend and we did go to the mountains and we had a cute little couples trip and my bonus son came with us and it was all good vibes. We did record and well, technology was repelling against us or me. I don't want to put that on you, Josh. I don't know. I feel like Mercury might be in retrograde or some shit. Not sure. But technology today was just not working for me all day, which is why we ended up getting on here a little bit later. And I'm zero makeup at all, which is why I had to go throwing a hat on. I felt like I needed some contrast. But I digress. As per usual, guys, I'm definitely like, now I'm like, man, I feel bad for being such a little shit to like 30 plus people being like, oh, yeah, you're old. What do you mean you don't want to go out without makeup? Whatever. I'll never have to be that way.
And here we are.
And here we are because I was definitely like, I need me some concealer, but we just going we just gonna let it go, you
All
know?
right, we're gonna go.
But I wanted to just talk a little bit about a trip. What were some highlights for you? What was like a high?
It started with going to North Carolina, period. I hadn't been there. So I'm a huge like check it off your bucket list person. And eventually throughout my life, I would like to get to all 50 states. That's just kind of something
Same.
I want to do.
Yeah.
So it was like another check off of that. That was the first. And then just getting to see you, I knew I was going to be doing it soon after I got into the airport, and that rush of like seeing a friend that you know you're going to see and or family member. And that initially was a thought that like got me all excited, and Dylan as well. And then we get there and then we just get to your apartment and I was waiting to see that. So that whole tour was great. And then we just kind of like stayed up till 12:30 and shit to shit. And then we got settled in, took a small sleep, got right back up, ran right to the mountains and decided that we were going to do 2 days instead of one. And then we just
I was just
like
gonna get that.
transformed like this whole vacation, just what we wanted it. And yes, there was planning, but not at the same time. It just felt very like, hey, this feels right. Is that cool? Yeah, good. Let's do it.
Yeah. It felt very like, okay, let's go with the flow. And you know how people say, like, and you've told me this, but like you can sometimes people are not friends anymore after vacations. Like the joke, like spring break when you go to Miami with your girls and the girlfriends always come back or they're not friends with each other. That's like a real thing. I don't think I've ever been on like a big group vacation like that with friends. I mean, I have, but I don't they weren't my friends, they were, like, my ex's friends, so that was their kinda thing, and yeah, I don't know. But I think we did a really good job, like, it was such a good, chill, no pressure vibe, and we talk about this all the time, but, like, that's what I want out of a friendship. I want no pressure, low maintenance, accountability when necessary, and inspiration. I would say, like, for me, the word that I kinda think about is just like inspiration, like kind of recognizing and relating to other people have problems, right? Like you guys have things that you have going on, we do, and it helps us to kind of be able to really understand relationships better. Like it's definitely important to have couple friends, diverse couple friends, different walks of life, different sexual orientations, because I learned that people kind of see things differently. And remember what I was telling you was that like I just felt so much more comfortable as a couple with you guys because I just feel like you guys don't have the same like gender roles that society puts on you that affects your relationship and how you think about things. And so that was really refreshing for me to be around.
Interesting you say that because a lot of people don't feel that way. They have the nerve to actually say like, are you top or bottom? Or and that is such an invasive fucking question that people don't even understand is quite awful to ask
That's
somebody.
such a weird thing to say.
Very,
Why would you ask someone that?
very
What
much so.
would someone ask me like d I'm not gonna say that because Don would kill me if you but would someone ask me some weird sexual shit? No.
It's none of your fucking business. Why do you Why are you so interested in what I'm doing? Like, worry about your own shit.
Listen,
I mean,
if
if
you
you
got
need
a little fetish, be real with it. That's what you need to
right,
say.
you need some advice, try Google, baby. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I am not Dr. Ruth. I ain't helping you with your sex life, okay? So, I just hate that people or they'll ask me this thing like, "How did you know you're gay? How did when was, like, the defining moment?" And then I'd kinda turn around back on them and go like, "Well, when was the defining moment you knew you were straight?" "Well, I didn't know. I was just, like, always that way." Funny, that's how I felt. So, interesting, right? It's really a concept if you think about it, like, "Oh, this person could just be this way, but a total different gender." That's interesting, yeah.
I don't think trying to think, like, have I asked that question? I don't think I have. I don't think I like, cause and I hope my niece is okay with this. I mean, she's out, so she'll be fine, but she told me that she was, bi, I think was that 2 years ago? She told me, and it was so funny because my niece she usually is like she was dating boys and always told me about boys. Never once did she mention girls, and I don't live there, so I don't know to kinda see and kinda peep or whatever. So she tells me and she's like, "Something, something, something, my girlfriend." And I'm just like, whatever. And I was like, "What are you, 50?" I'm like, "Since when do kids your age refer to their friends as their girlfriends?"
Usually it's partner and
I was like, "What?" And she was like, "No, TT, like, that's my girlfriend." And I was like, "Okay, like, let's have a conversation, whatever." And then, like, later, just a couple weeks ago, me, her, my sister were talking, her mom, and I was just asking, like, questions freely, just not like, just wanting to pick her brain and know what she was thinking and what that felt like and things like that. But it was never a moment where it was like, "What was the defining moment you knew?" Like, girls, like, I never asked that. And I don't know, I just feel like, how would you know, right? Like, especially for women, I think we comment on each other all the time. Like, I would be like, "Yeah, that girl's hot. Hey, she got a fat ass." Like, I don't know, like, how would you know?
so I will I do want to piggyback off of my own shit, right? And this is kind of interesting to layer this a little further. So I do usually give a response when somebody does ask that because I did have 2 girlfriends in my life.
I knew that.
Interesting enough, they were both friends. They were no longer friends after my 2nd girlfriend because that was the friend of my 1st girlfriend.
First of
But
all, not you homie hopping.
look, let me explain. So my mom's best friend's daughter had a birth defect and was born without arms. Okay. So I'll start with that. I don't know that I've ever told you this, and now I'm saying it on a worldwide
Did
podcast. So here we go. This
you
is what we
just see
do.
my
This is
face?
this is what we do, people.
I
We
was
just
like,
we give it like it is. So let me get further. So because those that know me for years know this story. So here we go. We've been friends 3 years, and I'm just letting this slip. Here we are. So she was born without arms. We were together for a year and a half. Me being like 14, 15 at the time, there was an age difference. I was in 8th grade, she was in her sophomore year or junior year of high school, so there was, like, a 3-year difference, and, she kept wanting to get intimate, and I just was not feeling it, and I kept making excuses, "I'm not ready, I'm still a virgin, I wanted to be married," like, I just would do anything to prolong it, and then
"Wait,
I
so
sh
those are excuses? It's not a real thing?
Right.
I need to talk to my kids."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we don't have they don't have to listen to the podcast, right? Well, so I kept saying that, and then she tells me she cheated on me with her next door neighbor. And that moment, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm fucking gay, bitch. I'm fucking
You didn't care?
if an armless woman cheats on you, you're gay, honey. You're gay. That's it. Your straight existence for heterosexuality is over as we know it. That there's no going back at that
So
point.
that's how
Well, it gets better. So while I was in that relationship, 2020 got involved. The documentary, ABC 2020.
okay, yes, I remember you
So
told me.
I think it was Ken Jennings, if I'm not mistaken, was the reporter to come to her house. Their whole family was interviewed. They came to my homecoming. They videotaped us at homecoming dancing. They interviewed me for like 20 minutes and they only gave me like 2 words of airtime, but that's fine. I was the boyfriend. I was the friend, so I can't get that much screen time. But
Gosh.
then so they documented it, and then another one happened and she went on Maury. And when she went on Maury, they brought footage in, and I was also on that footage, and they aired the footage when she was on stage at Maury. And so I am basically a past
Famous.
heterosexual celebrity, and now you know.
Wow. So, I mean, people should ask you that question because it's an interesting story.
It really
And
is.
how else is it gonna come out? So,
Right.
I'm really not mad at it. And, I think that kinda brings me into what our topic is, and our topic is when growth sometimes makes you the villain. And I think and the reason that, like, struck me was you learn from that, and you were like, "You know what? Clearly, I must be gay," right? And some people may see you as, like, the villain, like, "What?" Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, "Why weren't you there? Why" and that's your growth, your journey, and what it is that you needed, and realizing you had a reckoning, and what it is that you really wanted, and who you were really interested in, and I love that. And I think for me, when I think this is when does growth make you the villain? And I think about just recently going through a friendship breakup, talked about this before, can be sometimes worse than going through a romantic relationship breakup because that person is like your ride or die and there for you when you're having issues with your romantic one. So like who you go to when that's like not the case. But I think a lot of the times, at least in this situation, I felt like I was consistently feeling the need to dim my light. I don't think that I always did dim my light. There were times where I was like, nah, I'm gonna let my light shine and you can come stand in the sun with me or you can burn, but that's up to you. But there were definitely times, and I was just sharing this with Don where because he was like, "Oh, do you miss her? You guys gonna be friends again?" And I'm like, "I do miss her, but we won't be friends again because that story is over and it needed to be." Because I don't want to be around people where I feel the need to dim myself so that they feel more comfortable around me. And that was for me, that was growth. I was really proud of myself for that. And our whole exchange back and forth. She made it out for me to be the villain. Like I'm the wrong one for saying, "Hey, this isn't for me." Why? Like if someone had did that to me and expressed that like, "Hey, I feel like this friendship has run its course because I'm just not my authentic self that I want to be with you." I would be like, "Go ahead. If my energy is not right for you, I'm okay with that. Move on. Do what you need to do." But instead it was turned around as if I was the bad guy, if I was the villain for being honest about my feelings. I'm not stating this is factually what happened, but this is how these actions that legit happened made me feel, right? And that's me really being able to grow and have a difficult conversation when normally I would avoid. I would avoid that conversation at all costs. And I would either slowly disappear or I would do what I had done previous years. I would just let it keep going. And this time I just was like, "No, I can't. I can't do that." And I wish her well. I hope she has an amazing life. I still love her for the positive things that she brought to my life. But, you know, I just think that it wasn't a good fit. And that's growth. And that's one time that I can be proud that I chose growth over avoidance.
I do wanna applaud you because when you're going through what we call a friend vorce, you
Right.
were really hesitant, like, "Josh, am I crazy? Like, tell me, is it me? Is it her? Like, what the fuck is going on?" It was funny, you 2 were both chat GPTing each other, the responses back and forth, and I was like, "Girl, clearly these M hashtags are giving it away." Regardless,
We
you
didn't even
guys
care because we know how to it's what it was my true feelings.
I
It
know,
just
'cause you do own
articulate
that, yes.
it just articulated nicely because otherwise I would have been like, "What the fuck?" Like, I wasn't trying to come off that way, so
Like,
I needed a chill pill. Chat is
lucky
sometimes my chill pill.
we're lucky Chatty got involved here, this
Ex
ex-friend of yours.
exactly.
I mean, the result was still the same,
I mean,
regardless.
that's true, but it was definitely gonna be like, "Fuck all this shit." And then instead, it was like, "So, what I'm thinking is how I'm feeling." It was like we had a therapist that was like, "I feel, even though you feel." Like, that's what that was. But that was because we both genuinely care about the other's feelings, but we're also both very calculated and strategic. And it's like, I want to get this point across. And that's why I think the friendship couldn't work because we're both so like this. Neither one is willing to concede. And for me, I feel like I conceded a lot in the friendship. And I don't want to be in spaces where I have to do that so often. Like I get I'm gonna have to do it, but I just rather hang out with people who maybe like the same things as me so I don't have to do it that often if I'm being honest. You know what I mean? Like my fiance is already opposite of me and I have to compromise. Like I just rather find people of more like mind so that it's a little bit easier and lower maintenance for me. And I think that's a good boundary. And I don't care.
No, I 100% agree with you. You get to choose now. I think as we were adolescents, we were kind of forced into these social circles like school, for example, where we have to find anything that's remotely alike us so we could just survive this experience.
Right.
And then we hang on to that throughout life because it's comfortable and we built the relationship and it's time and energy. And then we start growing up and we hope to hang on to it because we're always told by our parents, these people in high school aren't going to matter. These people, you're never going to know again because it just, that's how life works.
That's
You
how
don't
life
believe
works.
them. And then you move on. And then that's what happens. But then you find other people as your life continues to go through these chapters. And then those chapters serve a purpose because they make sense. The ink matches the paper, and throughout the time the book changes, the cover changes, the story changes, it evolves, and then the other person isn't evolving, so then eventually we get to a place where the rubber meets the road and you got to decide left or right, and you can't go both ways, and
Yeah.
one chooses left, the other chooses right. You hope one day you eventually meet back in the middle, but you don't know where the roads are going to lead.
We have friends for, reasons, seasons, lessons. And I think the biggest part of growth is recognizing sooner when the season is over. And if I'm being honest, our season had been over for a while. And I was holding on just because I really thrive in familiarity. I say that word wrong all the time. And and routine. And so it more so was that it was a comfort because it became a part of a routine. But the routine is when we were together or where there were instances where I just wanted to have a feel good, fun day with the sun on my skin and good music playing and the windows down going over the bridge from St. Pete to Tampa. You know how beautiful that is, right? Like it would be tense or conversation would be strained or forced, or I'm sitting there, sorry, but having to go number two constantly because I'm anxious. And that's maybe TMI, but oh well, that's what it is. When I'm
Yes, it is.
anxious, my body very much is attuned with that. And I'm like, this is not healthy. Like I can't do that.
If your friend is making you shit, you gotta go. You gotta flush it.
No,
You gotta flush it.
reflush it, shred it.
Shred it, flush it, dump it. We got some acronyms, people. We got
Okay,
more.
fair. No, that's a good point, and even my friend came to pick me up, and when I told her, like, I wasn't feeling well, my stomach was hurting, she was like, "This is ridiculous. I'm let's go. I'm getting your sick butt out of here. What is going on?" And it's so crazy because 'cause I'm usually such a forthcoming person with these types of conversations, but, like, it just depends on the person, and that's how I knew. I'm like, "I can't be honest. I can't be myself. Oh my gosh." I'm like drowning. And it's just time to let it go. I have a question for you when it comes to that because of what I had to do.
Okay.
Can someone grow without leaving people behind?
Yeah. I definitely believe that people can grow without leaving people behind in the event that those people want to follow you.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay.
In the event that they want to follow you, you can absolutely welcome them to the party. In the event that they envy you, you need to, rethink that invitation maybe a little bit. And then you start to wonder why their behavior is changing. Why are they being short with me? Why are they ignoring my messages? Why do they make excuses every time I try to connect with them? Because they're jealous of you. They want what you have, or they don't know they want what you have. But somewhere deep inside, their anger and their behavior is projecting this because of whatever insecurity they have. Maybe it's a career, maybe it's a man or a girl, maybe it's a house,
Or
maybe
a
it's
kid.
Maybe it's kids, maybe it's a trip or a vacation, or hell, maybe it is just being lucky and you won the lottery and now they really want a piece of that pie.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I take that into consideration as often, but I should because all right, this is just me being vulnerable and honest, but like, my friend said to me the other day, she's going through a lot right now, and she was like, "You remember that time where you were in my apartment and you like came back from a really crappy date and you were crying and we just lay down and stared at the lights on the ceiling and you went and like panic blocked all of your friends who were engaged and having babies and like posting baby shower pics." I did. I went and hid every single one of them. I didn't want to be jealous of them, but I felt like, "Man, why isn't this happening to me?" But that's the reality of social media. Like, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Cause now, I got my own stuff going on and, you have problems out of relationship, you have problems in a relationship, you got to deal with other people, you have to adjust to this new life, right? So there's always going to be something. But I do realize that I'm now the person that I would have blocked 5 years ago.
What part of those traits would you say would be blockable?
I'm very like memories and I like to post my life and I'm very like sharing with what we're doing. Like when we had family pictures and, I was just feeling happy and like confident about us blending our family. Like obviously it's not a walk in the park, but social media can make it look like a walk in the park.
Oh, yeah.
I have really cute pictures with me and my bonus daughters and, me and my bonus son and Don are all hanging out together. And so it looks like, oh man, she just came in and it's like, boop, Insta family, here we go. And we're the freaking Brady Bunch. We are anything but the Brady Bunch. But social media might make it look like we're having the best time and it's so great and it's all copacetic. And, you know, it's good, but it could always be better, right? And there's obviously things going on that people aren't gonna know about unless you're in the inner sanctum. And even in that inner sanctum, you're not gonna know unless you're my partner, and that's just how it is. So I think that you're right. People do tend to kinda disappear when they're maybe a little bit envious of what you have. And I say envious and not jealous because envious, I feel like, is something that they can't necessarily control, and they might be a little shameful that they feel envious. And I say that for me, right? Like, I've definitely been envious of friends that I've had that are in college and, like, are serial entrepreneurs and are, doing really well, owning multiple businesses, owning homes. You just sold your home, made a profit, bought another home, right? And I'm not in that space yet, and I'm working toward that. And when I was at my lowest, it could be hard for me to talk to other people because I don't feel good enough to be in that space. I don't feel like I can be genuinely happy for them in that at that time, or it's not gonna come off because I'm genuinely happy, but it may not come off that way. And if I can't control my energy, I'm not gonna be around you.
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't mean that I don't love you. That doesn't mean, whatever the case may be, that I'm not a good friend. It just means at that time I got my own shit that I have to work through. So to kind of go back to that question, no, you're right. You don't necessarily have to leave people behind. Maybe you guys just need a break from each other. They need to just do something for them that makes them feel proud enough to be able to be in the same room and feel like they're on the same level. And I think that can be the key sometimes. And that comes from real, genuine, connected conversations and really starting to like understand the other person and not just assuming that they're jealous or they're envious, so I'm gonna write them off.
Uh-huh.
But really, it could just be, dang, they're just not happy with where they are right now. And maybe sometimes that's relating to them too. Like, hey, I know it looks like I got X, Y, and Z going on, but let me tell you what's going on here. That changes people's lives. That could save someone's life. That relatability. That's why I wrote my book, Connected Conversations. That's why we do this podcast. So sometimes we got to try to tote that line.
Do you think that people feel abandoned when we grow emotionally and not just when they see tangible things they might be envious of?
Ooh, I guess I do. I think, my sister told me this one time and she was like, sometimes I think that you have issues in friendships. She was like, because you are able to have multiple different friendships and connect with people on multiple different levels. And not everyone can do that. And I do feel like there have been times where I've had friends who were envious of my energy and envious of how other people fucked with me. And that's not my problem, you know? And I
Sure.
used to like feel bad or like dim my light or be more chill or whatever, but like that's exhausting. I don't got time for that. I'm just gonna be who I am. And if you can't handle that right now, that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. Get your space. What about you? Like, what do you feel like could be a reason why someone may be envious of you?
What I've heard a lot is, "I'm envious of your confidence," which to me has always been something that I use as a shield. Like, to people that don't really know me, they look at me and go, "Oh, he knows what he wants. He knows what he's doing," and that's not false. But I'm never 100% sure of the decisions I make, even though I feel in the moment that I'm making the right calls, if that makes any sense. Like, I go into a decision believing I'm making the right decision, but I always second guess myself because I don't have the full confidence to fully take it home and go, "Yeah, that was it. That was it. Yeah, okay, you made the right call." I always go, "Yes, that was it." Was it it? Was that could I have maybe done something a little so
You know
I'm
what I
definitely a second guesser.
what I think people are envious of though? I don't think it's necessarily the confidence piece, right? Because you're like, yeah, but I wasn't as confident as I seem. But you have action. And that is what I think is the difference. And that's what people are envious of.
The will to
You
act.
did it anyway, even though you weren't of the utmost confidence. Because most people will wait until I get confident. They'll study, they'll do whatever until they get confident and they won't make a move until they're ready. But you know that you'll get ready when you got it. That is a different level of self awareness that you can definitely play with as confident to get what you want. And so I think that's what I know. That's my opinion of you. Because, we've talked through like interview processes and different things like that. You know what you're doing and you have that confidence. But what I admire is you're going to act on what you believe and you're going to go for it. And not everybody has that action.
I appreciate that. And the fact that you say that actually makes me give myself a little more credit than I usually do in that space. Because usually when someone says that to me, I'm like, oh, well, you don't really know the real me. If you did, you wouldn't be saying that. But then I also go, well, no, there's a reason why I act this way, right? Like there's reasons why I take charge. There's a reason why I'm a successful leader. There's a reason why I am independent and have been since I was 16 years old. There's so many things about me that are like, yeah, I'm strong, I'm independent, I got this, I'm a free thinker. But then, there's always that little child in us that we resort back to because we have this little part of us that's still begging to be fixed, the internal child trauma that is always being worked on and it's always being improved. Does it really ever go away? I mean, I guess we could always touch on that in a different episode because that is deep shit. But
It's very deep. And I want to go further because that's something that's been bothering me. Because I feel like in therapy, we always focus on the past and what this was and like, oh, childhood trauma, blah, 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 right? I get it. Us millennials were traumatized as fuck. And then we're going to traumatize our kids.
mhm,
Like, I'm sure I feel like I already have, and I've only been in my bonus kid's life for 3 years. And I just feel like my neurotices or whatever that word is called, my neuroticness is probably, cause some trauma somewhere. I feel like we should focus more on the solution and the present than focusing on dissecting the past. I'm over that. I don't even want to go there. I just want to focus on the solutions, right? And that's me growing and not avoiding.
agreed.
Because sometimes I feel like I avoid action by focusing on, well, I am bipolar. Or, well, I was raised this way. I went through this. And it's like, yeah, while that may be true, I also am a clear thinking adult who can make choices, who has access to resources. So if I do not use those resources to fix what broke me, I am the problem. I cannot blame anybody else. And I just want to make sure that people feel that and understand that and stop getting trapped in the past and just focus on the present, what we can do now, what we can say now, and how we can be consistent in the present so that it lasts throughout the future.
And I love that you said that because we are definitely in different phases of therapy. You've been going for quite a while. I've been going off and on, hit or miss. Like I would go in spurts of like going a couple years and I'd stop for 3 years and I'd pick it back up. And I've been consistently going at this point. It's been such a helpful piece in my life that's really allowed me to change because I had the resource. I'm using the resource, right? Like to your point. But I do want to say that I'm in the discovery phase right now, where I'm in the understanding of why I'm acting these ways, or I'm having these
That
meltdowns,
makes sense. Yeah.
or I'm having these experiences and I'm trying to understand, oh, well, that's why you act this way. Through therapy, we're really uncovering a lot of this trauma and where it's coming from. So, yes, I agree. We need to move forward. We need to use our resources. And some of us are still over here going, well, why? What resources do I have and where do I find them? And okay, I can read through this resource. I have this tangibility to this. Or, hey, maybe I need to talk through this in the form of a podcast with one of their best friends. Whatever that resource might be, use it. So that's
Yeah.
what we're doing here in this podcast. And we're using these resources to mold some mandability to these conversations that we're really putting out there. And I never thought I would jump on this and be this vulnerable. So every episode that we're getting in here, and I never really know what we're going to talk about
I
fully,
know. And it just
you
goes
know?
deeper.
And it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and I've even started talking to people about it, and they're, like, getting excited. They're like, "Ooh, tell me about it. What's it gonna be?" I'm like, "No, you gotta wait. This is top secret shit. Like, I can't just dive all the way in. We're gonna give you little breadcrumbs before we get all the way in here." But because it's deep, like, I don't people are going to hear this, and I'm glad they are. And I'm glad they're going to be watching it. And I can't wait for the comments that are going to be coming in and the thoughts and the dialogue back and forth so we can just really start getting this robust discussion going. Because that's what season two is going to be, right? Like, we're going to be offering guest appearances, we're going to be doing interviews, we're going to be reading comments on the air for reviews we're getting. I mean, we're going to really be ramping up some things. We're trying out this craft here, we're sharpening the tools, and I'm just really excited to continue the season with you, and we got some other shit to talk about. So,
Yeah.
we're gonna dive deep.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it, and I'm really excited about crowd engagement. Like, I really hope that we get people that share their opinion, even if it opposes ours. And I gotta say, you did a really eloquent job at clocking my tea when you're like, hey, there's different phases of therapy. I've been in therapy for years, you're in the discovery. So recognizing that piece too, especially when I'm working with my partner who is also in a different phase of therapy than me. And so, you know what? I needed to hear that. So I appreciate that. And that was literally the picture of aligned anyway. Like, let me
And,
give you a
and
different
yeah,
perspective.
and it doesn't have to be this dramatic scene. Like,
Right.
if you have a different opinion or a viewpoint, why can't there be a helpful aid to someone that might just be open to hearing it and go, "Oh wow, I never really thought of it that way." Like that's
Exactly.
actually a different way to think about that.
Right.
So that's
I love
what we're doing. If we can help you all out there do that, then shit, we've accomplished something.
right. That's the goal. Well, I wanted to go ahead and say goodnight to everybody and just that we appreciate you. We had some technical issues, had to end up redoing this episode, but I am really excited for the journey and I'm excited to hear what you all think. And Josh, I'm excited to be influenced by you and be able to expand my
Likewise.
mindset.
Likewise, ditto. And all of you out there, we wanna hear from you, and we wanna be expanded by you. That sounded weird.
You like, okay, true. See, when I said it, I feel like it didn't sound that weird, but,
Immediately, I
you
regretted
know
it. I was like, "Oh, fuck, that was not the right way to say that."
but you know what? We gotta have some laughs. We gotta add some type of levity to the deep shit. That's how you get through life.
Lord, Lord, Lord,
You
Lord.
gotta laugh and you gotta cry. Some tough shit going on right now, so you gotta
Sometimes
be able to
you do
lighten
both.
it up. Right. Sometimes you do
Uh,
both.
episode 4 next week. It's going to be boundaries or avoidance. What is your method? What do you choose? What way do you handle your conflict? Think about that. Let that marinate. Next week, I'm going to pick up the hosting chair. We're going to take off in another direction. We're going to get you thinking. We're going to get those juices flowing. We want to hear from you.
Juices flowing and expand.
You know, if I'm not keeping it provocative, what the fuck we doing?
We ended on that note. Good night, guys.